Banger after banger.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Big Hero Chris back at you with another one. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, give me a thumbs up, ring the notification bell, hit me up on Twitter, TikTok, the community post, you already know the vibes. And what a week it's been in the world of wrestling. A lot has happened. The Rock and his daughter have new jobs. The Rock is now a member of the TKO board. Good for him. His daughter Ava is now the NXT general manager. So family, father and daughter, new jobs, and that's what's up. Netflix and Raw has a totally new meaning now. There's that. But as far as the AEW side goes, this past week on Collision, it was announced on Twitter that Tony Khan is bringing back the ranking systems for AEW. It's not going to be as random now. It's going to be based off wins and losses. And the ranking system is officially back like it was back in the good old days. The early days of AEW. And this week's episode of Dynamite kicked off with our AEW champion Samoa Joe, reiterating what I just talked about, the ranking system and how he's, out here to see who the best of the best is and blah, blah, blah. But then if you look up into the sky, you see the Hook signal, and Hook comes out and he's talking about how they had a match last week. Hook lost. Samoa Joe won. That's typically how these things go. But Hook said that he wants, somewhere in the future, he wants another shot. And Samoa Joe said, yeah, you're going to get it one day, but just not anytime soon. So he called security. Samoa Joe calls security on this poor young man. And then Hook ends up beating up security. And then after that, Hangman and Page and Penta have their match, and Samoa Joe's on commentary. And it's always good to hear Samoa Joe on commentary, him behind the desk, him on the headphones. And one thing I was kind of anticipating seeing was exactly how Samoa Joe and Taz were going to interact, and they didn't really do too much. There was one point where Samoa Joe was like, he was talking about Hook, and he was like, well, who raised this animal? And Taz just had this look like, F you, Joe, or whatever. So there was that, but we didn't have too much of them really going at it like that. So there's that. But as far as Penta and Hangman goes, it was a good match. It was solid. Hangman's mustache is getting more egregious each week. And I'm noticing that a lot of these people on AEW have mustaches. Adam Cole has a mustache now, even though he has a beard. The Young Bucks have their mustache gimmick going on. What is going on with all the mustaches? I don't know. A whole bunch of mustache perverts. But enough of that. Speaking of the top mustache pervert, we have Hangman, who ended up getting the win over Penta. And he's talking trash to Samoa Joe. And Samoa Joe was like, whatever, dude. And you also had, later in the night, you had Swerve taking on Jeff Hardy. And I'm not even going to cap to you guys. I was a little bit nervous going into this match because even though Jeff Hardy had a dope match against Darby Allin this past week on Rampage, it's Jeff Hardy. And a lot of his matches, especially with Matt, have really been hit or miss, with more misses than hits. This night was actually a hit. Him and Swerve had a really good match. To the surprise of nobody, Swerve ended up getting the win. And then you go to backstage, Hangman's talking to Renee, and then Swerve comes out of nowhere and he interrupts. And then Renee breaks it to both these guys that next week they will both have a dealer's choice match, meaning Swerve is going to have a match with a mystery opponent which Hangman will pick, and vice versa. Each man will choose the match type and the opponent for their ops. So, that should be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see who Swerve picks out for Hangman and who Hangman picks for Swerve. So, I'm still thinking this is leading to the triple threat match between Swerve, Hangman, and Samoa Joe. And there was even a brief part of me that thought, what if they would have made this a fatal four-way involving Hook? I doubt that's going to happen, but who knows? As far as the rest of this episode of Dynamite, we went to backstage. We saw Orange Cassidy talking to Renee. And he's saying that, yeah, he accepts Roderick Strong's challenge for Revolution, but that's not going to stop him from doing his thing, you know, accepting the open challenges and fighting and defending his international championship. And it was it was announced that this Friday on Rampage it's going to be a fatal 4-way involving the Butcher, Commander, Vikingo, and Kip Sabian, and the winner of this fatal 4-way will go on to fight Orange Cassidy this Friday on Collision. And I'm like, I get the concept, but who the fuck picked out these 4 people? Like, Commander and Vikingo is cool, but who's checking for the Butcher and Kip Sabian? Like, I don't know. Me personally, I want either. Nah, I don't want either. I want Vikingo to win because I think a match between Vikingo and Orange Cassidy will go pretty darn hard. But speaking of Orange Cassidy, he was in the corner of Trent ? As he took on Wardlow. And honestly, this was a good match. It went on a little bit too longer, but then I thought about it. I'm thinking, okay, they're trying to build up Trent a little bit, but they're also trying to build up Wardlow. So that's why I had the issue of the length of the match. The quality of the match was good. Wardlow ended up getting the win. He's out there with the Undisputed Kingdom. You know, Adam Cole with his damn mustache and his crutches and shit, and Roddy's, he has a mustache too. It was too much mustache. Too many mustaches going on. I don't know. But an interesting thing that happened after the match was you kind of had Trent shove off Orange Cassidy because it was looking like the Undisputed Kingdom was going to put the beat down on Trent, but Orange Cassidy came through and made the save. But it's kind of like they've been teasing this little heel turn with Trent, and it's not even recent. They've been teasing this heel turn with Trent for like years now about him breaking up from the best friend. So we'll see where that goes. It will be kind of funny to see if Trent ended up joining the Undisputed Kingdom because, spoiler alert, I have a nagging suspicion that Wardlow is eventually going to break away from these dudes, but it is what it is. But we go on to something that was really entertaining. We had a sit-down interview between Timeless Toni Storm and Deonna Purrazzo. And shout out to AEW and the production team, and however they pulled this off, shout out to you. My hat's off to you. But what they did was you had Timeless Toni Storm on one side, you had Deonna Purrazzo on the other side. And Timeless Toni Storm, the side she was on, it was in black and white, and Deonna Purrazzo was in color, so that was pretty funny. I can't even lie to you. And this was an entertaining segment, you know. So Deonna Purrazzo was like, listen, I didn't come here to make friends. I came here to win the AEW Women's Championship. Even though at one point, Toni Storm, you were my friend. We were cool. We go way back, like 4 plants on the Cadillac. Toni Storm used to live with Deonna Purrazzo when Toni moved to America. So there was a friendship there. They even have matching tattoos. And Toni Storm, she was like, listen, I heard you got body shamed, Deonna, and that's not cool. Because there's so much more that you could be shamed about. So I'm assuming this match is going to happen at Revolution. They ended up throwing shoes at each other. They fought for a little bit. Luther caught a boot to the face. Mariah May and Toni Storm ran off to the back. And Deonna Purrazzo held up the AEW Women's Championship, which means she's absolutely not going to win the AEW Women's Championship because that's how wrestling logic works. But the match itself should be fine. But, you know, speaking of women, speaking of Deonna, you had Taya Valkyrie, who I haven't seen since 1976. Her and Johnny Mundo, Johnny Elite, Johnny Television, they're backstage. And Taya Valkyrie lays out the challenge next week. It's going to be her and Deonna Purrazzo wrestling. So that should be a pretty dope match. Also, shout out to Johnny TV. Like, where have you been, bro? Where have you been? Wherever the both of you have been. My God, I forgot you guys work there. Even more women's stuff going on. We had the one women's match. I'm not going to do the sound effect because they're doing a good job of building up the women. They're getting more TV time. So even though it was one women's match, it was cool. This match was between Thunder Rosa and Red Velvet. And it was alright. It was an okay match. Thunder Rosa ended up getting the win. But speaking of the AEW Women's Championship, the championship that Thunder Rosa technically never lost, talked to the camera and said, Toni Storm, your time is coming. So if somehow, some way, Toni Storm can survive Deonna Purrazzo, you got Thunder Rosa waiting in the wings. So that's dope too. It's Sting! Him and Darby Allin are out there. They're talking. They're saying words. You know what I'm saying? And they're making the challenge to Big Bill and Ricky Starks. And in 2 weeks, it will be for the AEW Tag Team Championships. Ricky Starks and Big Bill defending their Tag Team Championships against Sting and Darby Allin. And you also had, watching this whole situation unfold, the EVPs, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, the Young Bucks. They made their way into the arena earlier. You know, they're doing EVP stuff. They're chastising Top Flight for being late, even though they were on time. And even though the EVPs were late getting to the show, that's just some things bosses do. So, more than likely, it's going to be for the Tag Team Championships at Revolution, the Young Bucks taking on Sting and Darby Allin. So, that's all cool too. And speaking of Tag Team Championships, you have the Trios titles on the line. The Acclaim defending their titles against the Mogul Embassy. And you even had the Bang Bang Gang come out. The Bullet Club Gold came out with the Acclaim. And there were shenanigans that took place. You had Prince Nana trying to run interference, trying to cost the Acclaim the match. But the Bullet Club actually made the save. And they helped out the Acclaim. The Acclaim ended up retaining their championships. And how I feel about this is what I want to happen, what I'm hoping is going to happen, what I need to happen is, even though the Bullet Club Gold, they're getting a good reaction from the crowd, they're seemingly playing the role of faces, I need them to return back heel and portray the Acclaim and have like a unification match and just get rid of the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team championships. Because do you guys really care about Ring of Honor? I don't think you do. Be honest with yourself, you know you don't. So that's what I need to happen. But this leads us to our main event, a match I never in my wildest dreams thought would ever happen. Adam Copeland, aka Edge, made his return to wrestling in, what year was it? 2021. You know, he officially made his return, and he was in WWE at the time. You fast forward all these years later, he's in AEW, and of all people he's wrestling against goddamn Minoru Suzuki. Like, did you ever think that this match would happen? I didn't think it would happen. You didn't think it would happen either. And this match was exactly what it needed to be, what I expected it to be. Two old dudes just beating the holy hell out of each other. The Murder Grandpa and the Rated R Superstar just beating each other silly, you know, knocking each other through barricade and elbow strikes and fighting spirits and spears and choking out. And Edge ended up winning with the unpretty or the kill switch, whatever the fuck it's called, sending a message to you, Christian Cage. And speaking of Christian Cage, man, AEW did something funny. They cut to Christian Cage watching in the back, but it wasn't live. This was like, this was older footage of Christian Cage, you know, doing that thing where he's rubbing his chin. It's older footage, but it got the point across. And even after the match, you had Edge on the mic saying that he's never been hit that hard as far as wrestling goes. And he goes to shake Suzuki's hand. He says, respect. And Suzuki says, man, F you, dude. He didn't really say that, but it was implied by his body language that he wasn't feeling that. Suzuki got out the ring, and Edge said, Christian, I'm coming for you next. I'm coming for that championship. And that's how this episode of Dynamite ended. And as far as it goes, man, it was an alright episode. A lot of development going on as far as the rankings and the main event picture as far as the AEW Championship and the Tag Team Championships and the TNT Championship and the International Championship. So it's doing a good job of building up towards AEW Revolution. But with that being said, guys, what did you think of this week's episode of Dynamite? Let me know in the comment section below. Of course, as always, like, comment, and subscribe. You guys take care. Peace. I'm out. Peace.